Ever since I called the police, my device doesn't stay connected to Wi-Fi, especially when I'm actually trying to talk about something. So, what I was saying, today is What We Need Wednesday. And, I was starting to do the New York City Ballet workout. Then the connection got disconnected. And then I started talking about, some revelations that I've gone through today. And then I started talking about all the different ministries. I'm a middle-aged woman, and I talked about this before. For those of you that don't know, sometimes when you go through middle-agedness, you go through hormonal changes, and it's not you. It's, you get hot flashes, or I don't even know for sure what hot flashes are. All I know is that all of a sudden, out of the blue, I get extremely hot. It could be 30 degrees outside, and I'll be out here, and I have to take everything off. And then on the other part of that is other types of hormonal issues, if you know what I mean. And so for me, I'm a very to myself kind of person, loner. And it's very rare that you find people that are spiritually connected and that are kind. And when those things happen, you know, those are a nice mixture of things to come in contact with, especially if you're deemed to be marginalized, which again, I'm no longer going by that. And today I think I did a good proof in the pudding of becoming unmarginalized. So lots of different situations, some of them very crazy, some of them I've already shared. I don't know if they've actually made it to posting because different things are happening. Like I said, I can't even keep a connection. So maybe over the past, like I said, a couple of weeks, I had about 3 different situations that happened. The one situation I talked about were my glasses. I couldn't see, I was right. And then I noticed, because I always look for the message that God is trying to give me before I look for the message that God is trying to give others. I couldn't see, nobody was coming over there because I was like, I'm going to ask somebody, hey, can I give you this to go get this? I happened across, and I said, I got to take initiative because I can't live like this without being able to see. So I took initiative, and I found somebody that was kind enough to do it, and they went above and beyond. Really appreciate it. Very kind person, very, hands-on type of person. This is great. But again, with the marginalized persona and that type of thing, you're scared to really interact too much because then you disappoint people. So kind of leave it at that. And plus, you can't take it anywhere. Second interaction, good old friends from high school type vibes. Person was scary, but again, I was scared into being complacent, so I was. But then I felt like, there's nothing to be scared of. And I realized, there really is something to be scared of, something that could be life-threatening. And so I just, I made the statement. And when I say things, just like when my mom says things, I make it clear, but people try to take that and use that against you. My statement was, I don't know you, you don't know me. That's my favorite statement when I decide I'm not speaking anymore, right? And then the third situation, someone just out of kindness, again, because I sit over there a lot, people have an impression, and then it got to the point where people are just starting to hand out things to you, which is fine with me. I don't care. But then also it kind of goes against your ministry because you don't have an opportunity to speak on what you're doing and what you're saying, because one, you don't want to turn people off by being like, no, I don't want this or don't need that, blah, blah, blah. So what ends up happening is that the very first individual, I thought was a great person. And I did want to reconnect, but I wasn't ready, because I had so much going on. And when I say that, I don't mean in any, want to reconnect on things that are spiritual and that are good and that are with my organization and everything I'm working on. But I couldn't because, again, the hormonal issues. And then the second, I didn't want to say anything at all. But that individual, again, mouth, heard it everywhere. It's okay. Third individual, just a good stand-up person, just trying to do a good stand-up thing, had a perception that this person is this type of individual. And so, just like you're feeding a stray cat, I'm going to do that. But, that's not who I am. And I wanted to share about what I was doing because the offer that they gave me was like a chicken wing and I thought that was very nice out of the blue, And I wanted to say, well, hey, just yesterday I fried up a bunch of them and I was selling them for $3. But then, they made it a point to show me that, that they weren't hardly paying attention. They were just like, what? And then it was just too much for me to go through all of it again. So I said, well, thank you. And I just left. And then the situation occurred where I was just having one of those days where everything was happening at once. And back to back, I overcome one challenge, another challenge, I overcome another challenge, another challenge. It was just back to back. And it's been like that for the past couple of weeks. So either it's a test or it's intentional. I don't know. But so what ends up happening is the individual that I really would have liked to have reconnected with after, my hormonal issues have changed a little bit. I guess they were like they're reclaiming their territory because they come to this area all the time. There's no need for them to feel like they're being chased away or whatever. So they were reclaiming their territory, and it felt a little bit awkward because at first because I didn't want to reconnect, but like I said, if they want to, they will. But so they kind of went on past the thing, and I got over it. I prayed to God. I made my list of what I needed to do next, and just went through the things and started doing those things next. The next thing I know, the next individual comes, and this is a big bully individual, and I'm just like, it's just too much, because then I'm like, okay, fine, I don't really care anything about that person too much. I'm okay. Then the third individual comes, and it's like I really wanted to share the information I wanted to share with that individual. So when all of this stuff happens, it's like at that point I have to go. I heat up all the way from the bottom all the way up. And so as I heat up from the bottom all the way up, I take flight. Take flight. It doesn't matter. I'm like having to cover my face because I'm like, I do not want to speak to this person. And so, and it's not that I didn't want to, but just not in that situation where I had so much going on at once. I wanted it to be calm. I wanted to be coherent, and I wanted everything to be good. So again, left, but I had to make a comment to the person that worked the grounds and be like, hey, this is what's going on over here. Are we good? Can I move something for you? And they were very cordial to me. I don't know what was said when I left. Like I said, item number 2, the things that were said made me clutch my pearls. I'm just like, you shouldn't even be paying attention to me. So what ends up happening is today I had a chance to recompass all. I haven't seen door number 1 in a very long time. I don't think he even comes out here anymore. I think he just runs past the park now. But, so I got to a stopping point in my painting. I felt like I needed to do my exercise. I needed to do my workout. So I went to go get my stuff. And when I went to go get my stuff, I saw the truck out there. And I was glad because I was like, hey, I can recompense and be like, hey, this is what happened. But you only have one time to make a good impression for people that actually are about anything. But in addition to that, whatever was said after I left, which I'm sure door number 2, made some comments, because like I said, I was sitting right there when they made comments about me that I thought was really like, what? And I didn't catch on because I wasn't paying attention to it first time, right? So what ends up happening, and that was door number 2 that had walked by and said, what? Because I was live streaming. I didn't even know because I didn't look because I wasn't paying attention. I was focused on what I was doing, right? So then, I was happy to see him. I was just like, hey, to the door number 3, I was like, hey, I'm glad to see that you're out here. Welcome back. And I apologize. I said, I'm so sorry if I scared you away from here last time. I'm a middle-aged woman. Sometimes I do go through hormonal issues, but, and as soon as I walked up, door number 1, number 2 was there. And that's not a door at all, but it was just like, how you doing? You doing okay? And and I said, he said, good morning. How you doing? You doing okay? And I said, good afternoon. And I'm always doing great. Please don't ask me that again. And then I went on and I saw door number 3. And so I said, hey, how you doing? Welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm sorry if I ran you off the last time. I'm just a middle-aged woman going through some hormonal issues. And he was on the phone, and you could tell, like I said, he's prim and proper, which is great. He obviously did not want to have this conversation. So I was just like, well, I just wanted to let you know that what I wanted to say last time, the time before last, but I wasn't able to because I think we were both a little bit busy, is that, I appreciate the room or whatever. But at the time I had my air fryer, pressure cooking, all that out here, and I have an organization that's in the process of reincorporation, and I was selling wings 3 for $1. And you just missed out because they were battered in protein and all this. And I said, but I see that you're on the phone, but I just wanted to give you a heads up about that and apologize for that. And if you ever see me out here again and you would like more information, please be sure to ask. And I just wanted to put that out there because, perceptions and things that I said, and I just wanted to set the record straight. I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was better than that because God gave it to me. Because, when God gives you the words to say, it's the right words. So I left. In that situation, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for things like that to happen. But I can say that was the first step to coming out of marginalization, because you could cower and you could stay in. But no, God didn't make all this beautiful, talented, faithful, hardworking woman to do that. And we are not going to do that. If I survive, all this stuff, there's a purpose for me. And I'm going to get it. You understand me? I'm not going to cower. Not going to. Even with the live stream going in and out. But I'm going to try to finish this workout because I've really been wanting to do it. I think I might have to drag all the stuff back over here. I was on the slanted tilt, then I got where I was on solid ground, one solid ground, no connection. So I'm going to be back over here, and hopefully it works out. But hopefully you get what I'm saying. I know I'm not the only one, because we're all human. We're made from the same thread and cloth. We just kind of divert and make different designs. And these situations and issues that I'm talking about are situations and issues most people have. And I successfully today overcame those SWOT threats, or work towards overcoming them, of the negative perception of the bottlenecking. All the information is in me. I have everything that I need, so I don't I don't need it. I just need to put it out there. But I'm going to continue this workout because, like I said, I try to be out of here by dark, and the time goes by so fast these days. Anyways, I love you with the love of Christ. Hopefully we'll be back with the full New York City ballet workout. Love you. Bye.